All right, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, December 21st, 2023. If you've not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Anyways, let's get into it today. So I'm doing the video a little early here. So markets are generally asleep, but overall, we had a gap up today and a little bit of a fade. Been a really definitely a market maker drain day. So we had a lot of fake outs this morning. I mean, the trading room today, this morning, we caught the short right off the bat, and we caught that lower. Then they popped us up here, so we moved out of it. And then, they brought it back like they were going to consolidate for a move higher. And then, right around the lunch hour, again, they keep doing these moves right in the middle of the lunch hour. They took it down. It's literally right after I logged out of the trading room. Boom, 10 minutes later, it was right back down here. We bear flagged, down move, and then a trap. So been very trappy all day long here. The markets are now, putting in possible lower highs going into power hour. I think we're still just doing backing and filling. We might even pull back a little bit more into power hour. And you can see here the VIXy, that's the actual VIX. By the way, take a look at the actual VIX here. This was kind of a red flag this morning. Look at how it was just chugging higher into the lunch hour, right? So all the way up, and this is while the market was just kind of floating sideways here, but chugging higher. And then you take a look at the VIXy here on the hourly, not really terrible there. That looks like it could make another move potentially. So, markets maybe a little bit on the weaker side. And again, bottom line, this is consolidation here. So we had a reversal yesterday. We had a good uptick in volume, and I think we're, overall, this is just an inside day here. That's what I'm going to leave it at. You could make a case that it's even reminiscent, and I talked a little bit about this yesterday too. It's reminiscent of the 27th, where we had the big sell, kind of like a warning shot, and then gap up the next day. We gapped up the day after that, and then a little bit, just consolidation. Then we kept going lower. I could see a similar setup to that, although I don't think we're going to have this type of a leg down. I think right now we're probably just going to chop, maybe sideways to lower. Maybe we could get down to 462, 460 on the spiders. But I do think that's likely to lead to a January effect. So that's kind of what I've got penciled in right now. Going into the end of the year, it's going to get really quiet. I would think that directional bets are going to get roasted. Directional bets definitely got roasted today on both sides. And, for me in the trading room, I'm probably going to be in scalp mode for the most part for the next 4 days. We only have 4 days left, right? And I can promise you right now, the institutions, they're on vacation right now. And they're going to be on vacation until January 1st or whatever the first day is. The January 2nd, I think, is the first day of the new trading year. So, again, be selective with your picks here. But right now, we'll just leave it at that. We're doing daily consolidation, and the price action is definitely indicative of that to me right now. But I wouldn't rule out a little bit more backing and filling. In fact, VIXy does still look pretty good here. Like I said, going into power hour, and we'll see if they pull it back a little bit more. Flipping over to the Qs here, again, you're going to see up 75 basis points here, so 0.75% Micron having a big pop on earnings. Maybe a little bit of a hanging man there, but nice volume there, 52-week highs for Micron, and that helped out the SMH up 1.82, and that's really keeping this market afloat here. Earlier, today, there was a lot of weakness in a lot of sectors, and, Micron, the semis, were really kind of, you can even see the SMH here intraday doing a lot of the legwork, keeping this market afloat. Then once we had that little breakdown, it kind of just opened the floodgates there, at least for the time being. But Micron holding up. Tech, and you see the triple Qs here are holding up okay. Again, I do think this is the same thing as the spiders here. Looks like we're making daily consolidation, so I'd expect sideways to lower, probably into the end of the year. And then, pullback areas 395, possibly down to 390. And then, maybe you can get some type of a January effect in the first, couple of weeks of the year. Anyways, Russell 2000 here up 1%. So again, very tight range. Let's not make a whole lot out of it. If this consolidates, there's nothing to say it can't go up to, the 205 area, maybe even 210. Take a look at this area on the weekly. Let's go back even further. So this whole area from 2021, right into that zone. So, you're into a decent resistance area right now. And then on the daily, There we go. Daily, you've got this little pivot here at 205 and then 210. So whole round number 5 and 10. Pretty simple there, but this does need to do backing and filling. It is way overbought, just like the rest of the market. And, yesterday there was that whole thing, there was no news, right? And I talked about that yesterday. There's no news on the sell-off. They tried to blame 0DT. 0DT made the move. They did this and that. 0DT makes the move every day. I watch 0DT. I follow 0DT all day long. It could just be as simple as, hey, the market's up almost 20% in 6 weeks. At some point, somebody's going to crack and say, I'm going to lock in gains. And then there's going to be a run for the exits. And nobody wants to be the last one out. So you get that profit-taking rally, or profit-taking, sell-off, which starts daily consolidation. But, again, it's funny how the financial media has to come up with a story for everything. Sometimes it's just, you're up 20%, you need to pull back. Dow here, so up 3/4, or up 1/3% rather. Again, inside day 370 will be support. That's the previous all-time high. You can see right there. And if you break through that, there's still a lot at 365. Again, I said yesterday, give it the downside bias of the 20 MA, and we'll do that with every index as well. So, anyway, semis we already talked about. Again, consolidation day inside of yesterday's range. SOX, same thing. We'll leave it alone for now. If this continues lower, 39 and then 38 on the daily. IGV still very strong. Not even. This is just such a strong trend here. Whereas you look at like the spiders here, overbought. The Dow way overbought, Russell way overbought. IGV may be overbought here, but it's a nice grind. It's not parabolic. And, it's acting well. I still think, I know I'm going to say it again, but I still think you got to do some weekly consolidation to get through these pivots. But I can't say any bad things really about the IGV right now. The trend is very strong. Transport's having a very good day, and that's important for the market. That indicates to me that this is just consolidation, right? Remember that ugly candle we had yesterday? Ugly inverted hammer closed below that green bar, up 1.25 today. So that's a pretty impressive move for the transports. And take a look at this morning. They kind of chugged higher right into the lunch hour, whereas the spiders are kind of neutral to lower, at least, price action wise. Obviously they were still green, but neutral to lower price action versus the transports showing some relative strength. And that's a big positive here because that was an ugly candle yesterday. That doesn't mean we can't come back down to fill the gap. 15.6 area. 20 moving average, 15.4, 15.5, somewhere in that range. But DJT, pretty good recovery there today. And again, it needed to do that. So, all right, let's get over here to interest rates. And so just ignore that. That's some day trading levels we got on there. Actually, by the way, look at that beautiful breakdown there of that pennant. So, but anyways, let's talk the 2-year. So again, 2-year here, down move, and you can make a case it's trying to bear flag here above 4.25. We'll continue to watch this. I think this is an important level. I think I said yesterday 4.15 would be an interesting level as well. If we got down there, I think we can. It's not that far away, and we're not that far away on across the board on all of these here. I'm just going to draw this in. There we go. So 3.75. We'll just say, yeah, we'll go right here. So there's the 5-year, so 3.75. There's your magic yellow line. 10-year, again, same area. 3.65, 3.7, right in that area. And then the 30-year, right around 3.8. So these are levels that I'm looking at on these on the longer end, and they're not that far away. So actually, I'm going to move this up a little bit. So right about there is where I got the 10-year. It's a stone's throw away. It will not take much to get there. We are seeing a little bit of seller exhaustion, though, a little bit of a divergent low in the 10-year. But I think we can get down there, and I think that's an interesting level for yields, to say the least. CTAs are mega long bonds. They were mega short a few weeks ago, and we're right back to where we were. So anyways, XHB here, bullish inside bar on the daily. Just keep in mind that when you're at an extreme high, these patterns have a tendency to fail. So if you do close below 91.95, this can go down pretty sharply to the 86 handle, maybe even 85. You didn't really build any supports outside of this nice bull flag there. But right now, homebuilders are holding up, and there's nothing to say they can't go higher as long as rates keep going down. VNQ, a little bit of a down move today. I believe this paid a dividend VNQ looks like it paid a dividend because it's showing it's up 1/4%, and the candle is down. So we'll leave that at, we'll just take that with a grain of salt there. But still, $84 would be your support level if we were to come back down. But again, we talked about this, right into a big weekly level. This is going to need to consolidate anyway if it's going to move higher. Banks a little bit on the quieter side here today. XLF's up 0.5%. Again, doji, just like the rest of the market, up move, down, and then right back here. So not a whole lot going on there. Again, we'll look at 36.25 on the downside. KRE $50 and then down to 48. KBE $44 and 42.50 will be levels there. Broker dealers, decent little uptick here. This is way overbought, needs to pull back. 520 is your support on the downside. Onto crude here, so down just 43 cents. If this consolidates, it can set up a bull pattern for a move higher. So I will say that. I like the little micro kind of test candle look today. It wasn't quite a test candle, but it's a little bit of a tail. You're inside of the screen and you're above the 20 MA. So that's a positive here. We need to see a little bit more backing and filling. But if this firms up here, I think this is good up to $80. If it rolls over, I'd be on the lookout for a possible higher low or possible one more divergent low. And then I think that's really all the downside that's in crude. But again, we'll see what we get here. Again, we're going into the end of the year, so things may be quieter. We might not get a ton of price action, so we might have to wait until next year. XLE, again, same kind of deal. You had an up move here, and if this can consolidate sideways, I think it can have another leg up. I'm still leaving it alone. I'm not in love with the pattern yet. Same thing with XOP and OIH, which I think has the cleanest pattern right now on the daily to potentially go higher. I just would have really liked a move down to 280 there. CCJ up 2.5. So again, basically got to the 42 handle. So pretty close, right? 42, 42.50. Trend is still up on the weekly, but pretty good outside move. And we'll see what this does going into next year. I don't really have a read on it right now, but the trend is still up on the weekly. URNM, same thing. Nothing has changed on that front. Nat gas had a pretty good day today, up almost 6%. So yesterday, again, I wasn't sure what this was going to do because you had that nice test candle on Tuesday. Then you gave it all back yesterday. You didn't take out the low, though. And then we got inventories today, and that was really rocket fuel for this in the middle of the day here. And, we made a higher high. So by, a penny or so, but it's still, you have a higher low and a higher high here on the daily technically. So if you can get through this area here, which I think it can, next level is, 275, 280. And then if you get to through that, it's back up to $3. So that would be a major level there for nat gas. Typically, this does trade down into December or January, and then it kind of gets that some type of a bid ahead of springtime. So typically, the way it works is you get buyers pricing in ahead of the seasons, and then in the middle of the season, the demand kind of cools off, and then it picks back up for ahead of the next season. But we'll see what it does here. But decent price action there, and it's definitely firmed up and looks a lot better than it did yesterday. Dollar index on the weaker side. I think this has got to pierce this level here, maybe even 101, maybe even a little flush, right? Just a little flush down to get through that because you did consolidate above it. So we'll watch, but you're right there. So we'll watch the DXY and extend this out a little bit. So I think a pierce of that level, maybe even a move down to 101 is warranted for the dollar. And then I think it can get a pretty good, put in a pretty significant low, at least a tradable bottom. But right now, definitely on the weaker side. If I flip over here to the yen, you're going to see that's still gaining versus the dollar here. So I'm interested in watching this too. So I talked about that support on the weekly. It's there, but you wanted to see more of a follow through. And on the monthly as well. I'm interested to see how this does on the monthly. You're just above the 20 MA, so who knows? Next month we could just take right back off. There's nothing to say that can't happen. But just be aware of that the yen it's a big deal right now. And again, it's gaining on the dollar a little bit. Gold here, up 40 basis points. If this consolidates, it can go higher. Like I've said, I think it will. I think it probably wants to test 2100 again. That's just kind of my assumption. I think it might need to consolidate a little bit more. Again, I think the dollar puts in a tradable low, so I don't think that even if this pops up, I think it's going to have one more pullback. And then we'll kind of evaluate it from there. It's basically on the verge of a breakout, but we'll see how the dollar reacts. And if I'm right about yields, that might be a problem going into quarter 1 for gold. I know everybody's like itching for a breakout right now, so it might not be the worst thing. Just have it pull back more and kind of get some of those people off the train. But hey, right now it's holding up, and I can't really say anything bad. GDX pattern-wise, that looks fine. So the miners are acting well here. Same thing with SIL, trying to work on a higher high. SILJ looks okay as well. Again, silver right into this trend line here one more time. So we tried to break out, a few weeks ago, massive supply came in. We'll see how it behaves going to the end of the year. But, more backing and filling is nothing wrong with that. Platinum looks good. You guys know that. Palladium also looks really good. I'd like to see a little bit more consolidation there, and I think those are ready to take off in the not too distant future. Copper here up 37 basis points. We'll give the upside bias to 4, and we'll leave it at that for now. Again, Bitcoin actually acting really well. So yesterday we had that little dump intraday, kind of a little intraday reversal we talked about, a little double top, and then we came down and it popped right back up today. And we did not close above that red though, but if we do, I'll just put it on there for you. 43.84755. So 84755. There you go. You close above that, this is going to go higher. So that's just the way it works. But yeah, pattern-wise, it looks fine, and I don't see any issues here. Again, the alts look a little bit softer. So lower highs, lower lows there on ETH. But again, it's not the worst, right? You could make a case as just kind of like a flag, a little pullback there. So no real problems there. Doge getting a decent bid. Look at Polkadot today. Nice up move. That might even want to get to 975, maybe $10. Litecoin on the softer side. Solana, there you go. So we talked about that. So there's your 100 handle. And that's probably where it's going to want to stall out. Your pivot high, breakdown right there. So I give these out so you guys can, trade them. These are freebies. So nice pop there. But Bitcoin looking fine. I don't see any problems. And alt's kind of mixed right now. Anyways, so let's take a look here. So it's 3:10. Again, doing the video a little on the early side. We've got the live stream after the bell. And again, I don't really expect too many fireworks into the end of the day here. But, maybe we fade out a little bit. Again, VIXY looks fine here. And I do think right now, bottom line, we're doing backing and filling likely into the end of the year. I think that will produce possibly a January effect for this market. But we'll see what we get here. I'd say max downside right now is 462, 460. Heck, we might even just chop in this little range here. 467, 465 to 475. A 10-point range on the spiders. That's certainly a possibility. And again, as participation drops down, I am in scalp mode for the most part. And definitely don't want to overtrade in this environment here as. Again, there's no participation from institutions. They're all on vacation. Anyways, guys, I'm wrapped up here. You guys take care. Come find me on CarnivoreTrades.com. I'll talk to you guys all tomorrow.